Hello YouTube, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about the new weapon that just arrived to the game, and that's called Stormbringer. Nice name by the way, and it's a new Sangjinu weapon. Let's see if it's good and if you should buy it or skip it for another weapon. So if you go to the weapon menu, we can see Stormbringer. I've already level 100. I'm still farming for the other weapons to level 120, so this one will take a bit more time to go to that level, but for now it's level 100. I still only have one advancement. I will slowly get the other ones, but for now let's see what it does. For the basic skill, it deals damage based on Jinu's attack, and it's a wind element weapon. The core attack, it's the same, and the skill, the important part. It deals a decent amount of damage and deals wind elemental damage. So what's the deal about this weapon? When you enter a stage, you activate Sealed Power. Sealed Power, when Jinu uses Hailstorm, it doesn't trigger a critical hit, but increases damage by 120%. So this is quite important. The skill doesn't crit, so it doesn't matter how much crit rate and crit damage you have, the skill won't crit, but it will increase the damage by 120%. Sangjinu's precision decreases by 24%. So the precision stat that helps you when you're against stronger opponents will decrease by 24%. But when you have Jinu's attack and precision increase by 0.8% per 10 strength, up to 24%. So you can increase Jinu's attack and precision by 0.8%, so the precision you lose by the skill will be recovered from this passive, so you need the strength enough for the 24%, the strength stat on Sangjinu be high enough so you can reach the 24% threshold, which would be around 300 strength stat. And if you get to that stat, which is the next text right here, is 300 or more, the effect chance to awaken storm. So if you get at least 300 strength, you get to awaken storm effect. When the skill hits, the whirlwind that was created triggers an effect that pulls enemies in. When Jinu uses Hailstorm, he gains super armor for 3 seconds. So if you have 300 more strength stat on Sangjinhu, you create a whirlwind when you use the skill, and you also gain a super armor effect for 3 seconds. When you use Hailstorm, it doesn't crit like the other version, but it increases damage by 200%. His attack increases by 30%, his precision increases by 5%, so even though you don't crit, you increase your attack by 30% and your precision by 5, so even though you're not critting, you're increasing your attack by a ton, and that's going to be better for your other abilities and not the weapon itself. The attack speed of Stormbringer's basic attack or attack and Hailstorm increase significantly, so you're going to be faster when you attack after using your skill. Its advancements. Let's see if you need all the advancements or if a couple are good enough. When you have the first advancement and use this skill, it activates the Gathering Storm. When the basic skill hits, it inflicts the Storm Strike effect on the target for 4 seconds. The Storm Strike is the user deals damage equal to 1600% of attack, and when this effect is active, it triggers Tempest Mark. Tempest Mark increases damage taken by 5%, and the damage taken by wind sources by 5%, and stacks to 2 times. Since this is applying on the target and not your own buff, it's the opponent's debuff. Basically, it's a debuff to the opponent. It means your hunters should be able to deal more damage to the enemy as well. And since it increased by 10%, and since you stack 2 times, 20% for wind and 10% for non-wind hunters, it's a ton of free damage for your team, so it's a good advancement to have. It increases your wind elemental damage. I'll have this type of advancement. The third advancement, it decreases your damage taken by 50% for 3 seconds after use your skill, so it's a bit more tankiness. And the Tempest Mark now will give you even more debuff to the opponent. Instead of taking 5% damage, they take 10%. And instead of taking 15% wind damage, they take 30% wind damage, 15% wind damage. So it's an insane increase, and of course, since it stacks 2 times, 20% damage taken and 30% wind damage taken. So the third advancement is really good, and it's really important to get. The cooldown of Hailstorm decreased by 20%. You want to use the skill as much as possible, so it's nice to have the 20% discount. And last advancement, Storm Strike enhance effect is enhanced. You deal twice the damage you dealt previously, and it triggers the Tempest Mark as well. And Tempest Mark is the same as the third advancement, so I would say the third advancement is probably the best one to obtain. And of course the fifth advancement will give you the most damage possible, but as a support weapon you want to have at least the third advancement to make sure you get the most out of the weapon. This is more of a support weapon than a main weapon. Not being able to crit will make it so you're not going to deal as much damage as another weapon, but since you increase your wind damage by a ton, you're going to use it to support the Demon's King's Dagger. It's the best wind weapon right now, and you didn't really have a dedicated support weapon for DKD or Demon King's Dagger, and now you have Stormbringer to aid you and increase your Demon's King's Dagger's damage by a ton. Of course, if you're going against wind weak bosses, you can use this weapon to also increase the damage of your hunters when you're fighting against wind weakness enemies. But how does this compare to the other weapons in terms of supporting abilities? So first, we're going to see a fight using the Demon Plume Flower Sword as the support weapon for Demon's King's Dagger, and see how much time it takes for us to defeat the boss. And take note that the weapon is at level 120 with 5 stars. In advancement. It took me around 1 minute, more or less. I'm still just fighting the first wave of enemies. This is floor 47 of the Battlefield of Trials, I believe it's the name. I should have muted it first, I'm sorry. I'll mute the other one. You might have not heard me correctly there, but I was saying this is the level 47 of Battlefield of Trials, and I'm using the weapon Demon Plume Flower Swords as support weapon for Demon's King's Daggers. I try to only use Demon's King's Dagger as my main weapon, and I use my skills obviously. And it took me... I don't use my ultimate, and I defeated the boss with 1 minute and 57 seconds remaining. Now let's see with Stormbringers as the support weapon. I'm still fighting just the first mobs, but as you can see the whirlwind is quite nice, it helps you clear the mobs. It doesn't crit, but it's not bad damage, but the important part is the fact that it gives you increased damage on your weapons and your wind damage. Now we're still doing only skills, no ultimate. Now we use the Stormbringer to increase our damage. And we go for the other one. As you can see, I dealt a massive amount of damage. I'm using auto on the Hunters and the Shadow Army, so it's the same. It's probably the same timing as the last fight, so it shouldn't affect it too much. But I defeated it in 2 minutes and 5 seconds. So as a weapon, as a support weapon, it's doing a decent job. I don't have any advancements except the first advancement on the Stormbringer, and it's on level 100, and it's still cleared faster than with the Demon Plume Flower Sword. Demon Plume is obviously the best weapon as a support weapon generally, but if you're going to use one specific support weapon for each type, this is going to be slightly better. As you see, it's not a huge difference. But the boss wasn't weak to anything, so there's not much we can say about the fact that it's wind damage, apart from it buffing the damage they take in general, and the Demon King's daggers being a wind weapon. Overall, I think it's a decently good weapon, and if you want a support weapon for your Demon King's dagger, this is going to be most likely the best weapon to support the dagger right now. As a weapon, main weapon, it's not going to be doing the damage that other weapons will do, but but as a supportive weapon, it's going to get the job done, and it felt like it did the job quite well, and especially against mobs, the whirlwind will be nice to clear the mobs. Yeah, that's pretty much it. If you liked the video, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!